Every year, 6% of Bahamian
children are born with a heart defect.
We at Cable 12
When the Nassau Guardian decided
to lend a helping hand
in creating more awareness to the cost of saving little hearts.
One surgery
can cost up to
$250,000.
We at Cable 12
and the Nassau Guardian
hear their cry.
We are asking you
to make a donation
to these efforts.
Embrace the opportunity
and save a little heart.
DEU heads already concerned about the amount of drugs discovered this year.
It's the increase of movement.
Police need your help finding a missing girl. A student slapped by his principal.
I felt very embarrassed because he did it in front of all the students.
A behind-the-scenes look at Carifta preparations, plus Barris Hammond open to working with Bahamian artists.
Sharing musical experiences with different cultures is always a joy of mine. I love doing that.
I'm Nakia DeVoe, and this is NV12 Weekend. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us this Sunday for NB12 Weekend. The first few months of 2013 have been very active for officers of the Drug Enforcement Unit. According to the officer in charge of the department, the value of drugs interdicted so far this year exceeds the amount confiscated for the entire 2012. Paige McCartney has more.
In the past week alone, the Drug Enforcement Unit has seized more than $3 million worth of dangerous drugs. That's already half the typical $6 million worth of illegal drugs confiscated annually, and we're only 3 months into the year. On Monday, officers interdicted a Haitian vessel off the coast of Anagua carrying $2 million worth of cocaine. And just 2 days ago, officers made a significant bust at a home off Market Street, seizing $1,011,000 worth of marijuana. According to officer in charge of the Drug Enforcement Unit, Superintendent Sam Butler, something most of the major drug seizures have in common is that the drugs are coming out of Haiti.
Obviously, trends shift from time to time. And so at this moment, we recognize the shift is maritime base, and the route is coming out of Haiti at the moment. In fact, from the latter part of last year, it's seeing the increase of movement from that particular zone.
The Bahamas is a well-known transshipment point for drugs coming out of South America and nearby drug-producing countries. But he said the Bahamas is not the targeted destination because even though Bahamians do use illegal drugs, the demand is not very high here. But Butler explained that the drugs end up on Bahamian streets because it's how major cartels pay their mules.
Often the major drug barons use the actual merchandise or the contraband as payment to the locals. And so based on that, that is how we actually have it assimilated into the communities. But the major portion is normally for another destination.
The local drug fight is twofold. While a Bahamian and U.S. partnership patrols the country's borders, Butler said there's also a street component where DEU officers are constantly on the lookout for drug peddlers on street corners. He said it leads to more than 1,000 annual arrests.
He said there are several major drug peddling groups that he said police are aware of and are constantly collecting intelligence on to continue to target them. He said that's always a concern for law enforcement.
They're not out of control, but they exist. At any given year on a range, there are basically more than 1,500 persons arrested from a street peddling point of view, far beyond there'll be a comfortable margin in terms of individuals who are just not seeking to be law-abiding and have no regard for human life. You're selling it, and as far as you're concerned, they're making $1 for themselves. and maybe with no consideration who they're selling it to, whether they're young persons, students. And so we are really concerned about it.
While doing significantly well, taking into account the partnership with local and regional law enforcement, Butler said some challenges remain for drug enforcement.
Obviously, as we look at the geographic layout of the Bahamas, we would know that because of our open borders, it'll be almost impossible to be everywhere at the same time. So if we're going to be challenged, we'll be challenged based on our open borders and to be able to put a significantly much more sea vessels out there.
But Butler said because of the help from the United States and other jurisdictions and the available air and sea craft to move about the Bahamas at a moment's notice, the unit is able to accomplish a lot more with the tools it has. Reporting for MB12, I'm Paige McCartney.
A man allegedly held up at gunpoint and forced into his own home by two masked men wielding high-powered weapons last night. Police say the man had just arrived at his Essex Street residence off Shirley Street around 11 p.m. when the culprits allegedly ambushed him. While inside the home, the armed men reportedly robbed him of an undisclosed amount of cash, two Samsung cell phones, a laptop, and a red and white trail motorbike. Police recently expressed concern over the prevalence of high-powered weapons in New Providence. Superintendent Paul Roll, head of the Central Detective Unit, told NB12 last month that while the use of handguns is obviously of concern, assault rifles that use high-velocity bullets pose a greater danger. Well, it's been 4 days since loved ones have seen or heard from 17-year-old Janaea Saunders. Now police are asking your help finding her. Janaea, a resident of Evans Street just off East Street, is 5 feet 8 inches tall with a slim build and light brown complexion. The Doris Johnson Senior High School student was last seen at home around 9 p.m. Wednesday, wearing dark blue jeans and a short-sleeve aqua shirt. Now, if you have seen the teenager or have any information on her whereabouts, police are asking you to call them at 919 or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. A Bahamian man arrested in Florida last week to appear before a United States judge tomorrow. Homeland Security investigation agents arrested 31-year-old Rohan Spicer, who is suspected of trying to smuggle $1.2 million in cash from Palm Beach County to the Bahamas. The agents said they watched Spicer loading items from his SUV to his boat on February 27th. Officers later stopped his boat and said they found $20,000 in undeclared money. Agents alleged that he only declared that he was transporting household goods and speakers. After a search of the boat, agents and officials from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office say they discovered more money in $50,000 bundles hidden in stereo speakers, luggage, and within merchandise. Spicer's bail hearing is set for tomorrow. For decades, corporal punishment has been a viable form of punishment in many Bahamian schools. But how far is too far? One mother of two students at a Fox Hill Road private school says the principal took discipline too far when he slapped one of her sons in his face. Crystal Adderley said she received a call on Thursday from her son's school, Mastering Yourself Institute.
He asked my son why wasn't his work done, and he told him he don't know, and then why his book was closed. And my son, Dr. Bain raised his voice at him, and he said that my son sucked his teeth, and then he draw back and he slapped him. And so my son walked out of the classroom to go use the phone to call me, and then he pushed him against the wall. He said, "No, I'm going to call him myself."
Adderley said as a very involved parent at the school, she never had a problem with administrators and in fact did not have a problem with teachers caning her children. But she thinks the principal, Dr. Samuel Bain, took things too far.
I don't have a problem with my kids being disciplined in the correct manner. Had he spanked him with a cane across his legs or his bottom, I was okay with that. But to draw back and to slap him in his face, that's actually an offense.
And that's the thing that you have a problem with.
And I went to the school conveying that I had a serious problem with him putting his hand in my son's face.
The 8th grader said he was very embarrassed by what happened.
All of my work was completed, right? But the teachers thought that I was getting very bad grades in his class, like I was failing, and the principal started to raise his voice, and I get offended, and then I start to suck my teeth at him. So he's like, "Who you sucking your teeth at?" And I say, "No one, sir." So then he draw back and slap me in my face, right, y'all? And I started to walk out the class to go call my mom. And he pushed me against the wall and said, "What you want to do? What you want to do?" I said nothing, so I get in to call my mom. And I just felt very embarrassed because he did it in front of all the students.
Now, NB12 contacted the principal of the school, Dr. Samuel Bain, who admitted to us that he did slap the boy. He regretted doing what he did and was not happy about the way things happened. Bain said he just happened to be passing by the boy's English class when he noticed that the teacher had asked him and two other young men to stand. He said the boy was supposed to be standing by the door, but was instead hanging over the outside railing. When he asked the student about it, Bain said he didn't like the attitude given to him and needed to relay the message that he cannot be disrespectful. Bain said he didn't have his cane with him and used his hand, but did not strike the boy very hard. Nonetheless, Adderley said she has pressed charges with the police and hopes to see the matter addressed very quickly. She has also pulled her two sons from school and is looking to have them placed in another school soon. Adderley says she thinks there should be a governing body for all private and independent schools since the Ministry of Education has little jurisdiction over them. Well, still to come on NB12, officials preparing the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium for Carifta.